When you think of fall colours, cosy autumnal vibes, windy countryside roads lined with farms and falling leaves, you are probably thinking about Vermont.
Over 2 days, we visited some of the most charming towns, got lost in a corn maze, tasted some delicious autumnal food, experienced unforgettable fall activities, and a lot more.
We're Ryan and Manuel, and welcome to Vermont.
Welcome to the continuation of our New England fall road trip. In our last video, we took you to New Hampshire, where we drove the famous Kancamagus Highway, saw some of the best fall colors we had ever seen, and hiked what would become one of our favorite trails ever. And if you thought that was autumn at its best, wait until you see what Vermont had in store for us.
With only 2 days to experience everything autumnal in the state of Vermont, we left early on our first day after having spent the night in the quiet and rural town of Peacham.
Before reaching our first destination, we made a brief stop in Waterbury to get a glimpse at the first Ben & Jerry's factory, where they offer daily tours and you can visit the Flavor Graveyard, the final resting place of retired ice cream flavors like sugar plum and oatmeal cookie chunk.
Only a few minutes drive away, we stopped at the cold Hollow Cider Mill, where you can witness the making of fresh apple cider using a traditional press built in the 1920s and try it, both hot or cold. When here, we also treated ourselves to some of the legendary apple cider donuts, freshly baked at the mill and an absolute signature taste of autumn in Vermont. They were so delicious. Inside, you can explore the shop that sells local products and souvenirs. This stop is very popular, so we definitely recommend getting here before all of the tour buses arrive.
Only a 10 minutes drive from here, we stopped at the Brook Cover Bridge. Built in 1844, it's better known as Emily's Bridge for the young broken-hearted girl who legend says took her own life waiting for her lover and whose ghost is said to still haunt the bridge.
A short drive from here, we visited the quintessential New England town of Stowe, a truly perfect spot to feel the autumn vibes. This is a perfect place for a stroll along the main street, holding a pumpkin spice latte and enjoying the quaint atmosphere and the laid-back vibe, surrounded by cafes and independent shops. If you are in town and are interested in grabbing a bite to eat, we recommend making a reservation, as anywhere we went the queues were extremely long.
Also, we recommend stopping at the Stowe Community Church to get a wider view of the town and the fall colors. And also to take a stroll along the Stowe Recreation Path, which is peaceful and usually quiet.
Our next stop was the Trapp Family Lodge. Yes, the same Von Trapps you probably know from The Sound of Music. In the early 40s, after touring the US as the Trapp Family Singers, they settled in this beautiful area of rural Vermont, as the view of the mountains reminded them of their beloved Austria. It's here that in the 50s they began welcoming guests in their family lodge.
Most of the original structure was burnt in a fire, but the current structure is even bigger, and it's still owned and operated by the Von Trapp family. Here you can also visit the private cemetery where Maria, Captain Georg von Trapp and some of their children are buried. To tour the grounds, you need to pay a little fee.
If you are visiting, make sure you stop at the lovely Stowe Red Barn just before reaching the lodge.
But it was now finally time for one of the things we were the most excited about, the Percy Farm Corn Maze, a beloved Vermont fall tradition and a perfect autumn activity. The maze is designed every year by Paul Percy, whose family has been farming this land since the 1930s. If you don't complete the maze within 1 hour, you will get a phone call. And even if we entered the maze certain it was going to be super easy, we almost got the call of shame as it took us 53 minutes to find the exit. But it was so much fun.
Our next stop was the Stowe Mountain Resort, one of the most popular attractions in the area. The drive there was incredible as the fall colours were at peak. We couldn't believe how beautiful it was. Unfortunately, because we got lost in the maze for longer than we planned, we missed the last gondola for the top of Mount Mansfield, Vermont's highest mountain. We know it would have been amazing to see the fall colours from above, but as they say, there is always next time. The silver lining? It was still stunning to see the fall colours from below. We'll never forget the oranges, reds, greens and yellows that surrounded us.
To end our first Vermont day, we continued our drive on Smuggler's Notch, a spectacular 3.5-mile route, renowned for its tight hairpin turns, massive boulders and dense forests. Here you can get out of the car and go on several hikes and really take in the landscape. The drive was absolutely magical and it felt like the best way to end this perfect fall day.
We started our second day in Vermont driving to the town of East Corinth. It felt like a perfect autumn morning, foggy, fresh and quiet. East Corinth may seem like a random stop, but being film buffs, we couldn't resist seeing the place where Tim Burton's Beetlejuice was filmed. But regardless if you are a fan of the movie, we still recommend stopping by.
After a very atmospheric walk around town, we bumped into one of our favourite New England views of all times, the one opposite the Warts River Church. It felt like we were staring at a perfect fall postcard and we didn't want to leave.
But it was time to head to the Quechee Gorge, the deepest gorge in Vermont. Normally from the bridge you can get a wonderful view of the gorge, but unfortunately only a section of it was open. It was still a cool stop and one we definitely recommend.
Only a short drive from here is the Sugarbush Farm. This 500 acres farm is located in a truly idyllic area. The drive to get there was itself worth the journey, and we couldn't help ourselves to stop a few times to enjoy the long windy country roads, the leaves falling, the white fences, all against the multicolored trees and the blue sky. It was a real fall wonderland.
The farm has been run by the same family for 4 generations and is famous for its excellent wax cheeses and 4 different grades of pure Vermont maple syrup that are made in-house. As you enter the main building, you can sample these products and trust us, they were incredible. We may or may not have bought enough maple syrup to last us a lifetime. At the farm, you can also learn more about the process of making all of this, see the animals, and visit the store that sells local produce and souvenirs.
But our favorite thing to do here was to walk amongst the maple trees and see how the trees are tapped. It was so interesting and it gave us even more appreciation for the process of making the syrup. We could have spent the whole day here, amongst the animals, fall colors, wonderful people and delicious food.
After this, we stopped in the beautiful town of Woodstock, and if you are looking for the most perfect autumn vibes, this might be the place you are looking for. The town feels cozy, relaxing, cool, and has plenty of independent businesses, restaurants and coffee shops. We recommend a visit to F.H. Gillingham & Sons, the town's general store, the Yankee Bookshop, Montvert Cafe, and Soulfully Good Cafe, and also a stroll around the Woodstock Inn and Resort with their full display.
We also loved walking along Pleasant Street to see all of the beautiful fall decorations. But our favorite area was probably the one around the historic Middle Covered Bridge. It was all we had hoped for when we were planning this fall trip.
After a brief stop at the Calvin Coolidge Historic Site, birthplace and childhood home of the 30th President of the United States, where Coolidge took the presidential oath of office in the parlour of his family home, We drove to the Green Mountain Sugar House, another family-run business that produces maple syrup. Here, we tried the famous maple creamies, which we can best describe as maple-flavored soft-serve ice creams, and wow, they were so good. If you are visiting, we recommend heading to the back of the building for a stunning seating area that faces the pond.
But all good things come to an end, and with the end of the day approaching, we had one final stop we absolutely didn't want to miss: the original Vermont country store. Opened in 1946 in the town of Weston by Vrest and Mildred Ellen Orton, it was inspired by childhood memories of Rest's father's general store, where people went to wait for the horse-drawn stagecoach that brought the mail, and where the smell of leather, kerosene lamps, and sugar maple logs filled the space.
The shop has creaky wooden floors and beams darkened by age and seemed to take us back to another time. It sells a huge array of products from nostalgic toys, clothing, and hard-to-find products for country living. It is a lot more than a shop.
As we were driving back to our accommodation, we just couldn't stop thinking about how lucky we had been to experience such a special couple of days in Vermont.
And from now on, when we think of autumn, we will definitely picture those windy country roads lined with maple syrup farms and charming towns, with those spectacular fall colours in the background.
We hope you enjoyed coming along with us, and if you did, be sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an adventure, and consider giving this video a thumbs up. We are always out there exploring, and we cannot wait to take you with us.
And now,
See you down the road.